Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the only podcast running 24, 11 and 1. Joining me in what has been an absolutely incredible week, and the NFL in total, mate, at Danny Webb, AGSAU. Listen to these kind of things. The Bears are the number one seed in the NFC, not just the NFC North, the NFC. The Colts, who we thought were nearly undebeatable a couple of weeks ago, are now holding on to a wildcard spot. Some of these games from the past week were absolutely incredible, mate. What did you think from the weekend that's just gone?
This is why we love the NFL, and I say this to like all my mates outside of our little podcast world that we live in. But I always say, they're like, how did you change so quickly and fall in love with a different sport like that? Because every single week completely matters, and this is the perfect example of it. You've got people flipping tables. You've got like teams going from the bottom up to the top, or like at least knocking on the door of their division, and it's right at the point where it actually matters. So every game matters every single week, but even from here on out, if you're not winning, you're not making the playoffs. And these teams that have their backs up against the wall are pulling games absolutely out of the hat.
And it feels like, I don't know how you see it, but the teams that have struggled at the start of the season are really starting to, Joey B and the Bengals are actually a chance of making the playoffs, even though that he's missed 3/4 of the season.
Crazy. And I said, I'm like, why bring Joey B back? Why bring him back in this situation? And then you now look at that division and they're a chance. The Bengals are a chance, a small chance, don't get me wrong, but they are only 2 games behind the Baltimore Ravens that are leading the division. And they just smashed the Ravens. Yeah, with the way that the Ravens have been playing as well, like you can't see them realistically comfortably hanging on to this division. So like the whole AFC North is wide open.
There was a question I was going to pose to you, so we'll get straight into it. Like, not only that, the Steelers only put up 7 points against the Bills, and Aaron Rodgers is, hampered, really.
Yeah, the Steelers did not look great. I am, as much as we always claim that I'm a doctor, I don't actually have a PhD. Shock to the fans out there. I wouldn't be putting a player out there with a broken wrist. I just wouldn't do it.
3 breaks in their wrist, apparently. I didn't know we had 3 bones. We got 3 breaks.
Yeah, so obviously, clearly, I'm more of a doctor than you are. But yeah, you just like it was just unnecessary. I just don't think it really needed to go out there and do that. But yeah, like the Steelers' defense had always been like their drawing card in all of this, and then for them to the offense couldn't really fire, but the defense couldn't really stop them either.
Yeah, you're right. James Cook, and I said this, if James Cook gets over 100, the Bills win, and they put up 249, I think it was, rushing yards, which is the most rushing yards against the Steelers in Acrisure or Heinz Field ever. So him rushing, I think it was 149 yards James Cook rushed, and they just really lent on him. And you're right about Rodgers as well. There was a sack early in the second half where he fumbled the ball. Joey Bosa got him. And you could see that he fell. That's when he really put a cut on his nose from when he got him. So it was a real chase him down from behind, but he landed on that left wrist. And just after that, you could just tell that he was feeling it. He just didn't have any confidence in the left hand, and it showed for the rest of the game, really.
Yeah, like it's just wild. Like
you can tell it's really blown your mind that they've even. It has, but they did. They put up. I can't even think who their backup was, and he was terrible. So I'd be throwing out. He was. Yeah, that's him. He was shit. So I'd be throwing out a half-injured Aaron Rodgers if you've got Mason Rudolph as your backup.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph didn't do too bad the week before though, when Rodgers was fully out when they played the Bears. Yes, okay, they lost, but. Oh God, is it time to talk about the Bears yet? Because we could really dive into that too. Because the Bears aren't just that walkover team anymore. That's for sure. Hurt this week. Hurt. But Rudolph actually looks okay the week prior. So if you're putting up a bloke who has 3 broken bones in his arm and who got tackled and then got scared, or Mason Rudolph, I don't like. Yeah, but it's exactly that. It's that pointy end of the season that we just don't really know. If you lose this game, are we out of the playoffs? Have we lost our chance by not putting our best players out there? So that's why they do go out there, and that's why they compete. It's why they're best in the world.
I'll put it to you now. The Bengals are I think they're 2 games out, 5 games to go. They play. They just beat the Ravens. They play the Ravens again, so they'll catch up on them. We're pretty sure the Steelers are almost cooked. Can they actually make it and win the AFC North?
Yeah, so they've got a 2% playoff probability, and that's to do with the remaining schedule, what the other teams are facing, and all of that. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it is a very, very small glimmer of hope. But 2 weeks ago, they didn't have that glimmer of hope before Joey B went out there. So the fact that Joey B is out there doing what he's doing, and in that Ravens game, there was some very questionable decisioning, and he still wasn't there. The Bengals got a turnover on their own fifth yard line, and they had 4 attempts. They went all 4 downs on it and still couldn't score. So the continuity is not quite there. So as they go and they keep playing, and Joey B has reps with the first teams and stuff, they're going to keep on improving, but it's a long way to go. It's a hard hill to climb. Be exciting. It's going to be a very, very exciting race to the end for this division. And unfortunately for this division, it is the highest winning team only has 6 wins. They're only sitting at 500.
But I reckon whichever team gets in there, it could cause a little bit of problems. That's the only thing. As long as they get healthy and, like you said, a bit of continuity. If the Bengals make it to the playoffs, they could cause problems. It's still just a dangerous division, whoever actually gets out of there. A team that is out of the playoff race, the Arizona Cardinals. There's a couple of other teams like the Raiders and the Titans that are officially done now. The Arizona Cardinals, a player that you've kind of really jumped on the back of, Jacoby Brissett, has not failed us in the 1K club yet. We really love him because of this 1K club. Should they stick with him now that they are out of the playoffs? Because it doesn't look like Kyler Murray is returning anytime soon.
Yeah, so the news actually broke this morning that Kyler Murray is actually getting closer to coming back. So they're saying whether they elevate him this week or the following week. I'm a big Jacoby Brissett fan. He's going out there and he has this connection with these receivers, and there's no QB that can just go in there and plug and play him. Averaged 330 yards since he's been out there for the Cardinals. Yes, okay, they're not winning games, but maybe that has something more to do with the whole quarterback situation. And then you look at Kyler Murray at the start of the season, where he kind of underperformed every second game, and then every other game he looked like he was the Kyler Murray that everyone expected him to be. It is a really, really tough one here. I'm going to stick with my boy Jacoby Brissett just because I think he's exciting. I think he's a fun player to watch, and anyone who airs it out that much every single game deserves a spot, in my opinion.
Well, you're right. They haven't been winning, but I feel like they've got more of a chance of winning with Brissett. He's putting up big numbers. They're scoring. I feel like the defense has a little bit to answer for as well. They're trying to outscore their shit defense, which doesn't help. But Murray wasn't scoring. I think he had an average score of about 16 or 17. At least with Brissett, they're out there, they're putting up big numbers. They're keeping their wide receivers happy. You've seen in places like Minnesota, Justin Jefferson sitting on the sideline with 2 catches for 4 yards. He's grumpy as all hell. Marvin Harrison's putting up 60, 70 yards a week.
Yeah. And anytime you're keeping your wide receiver core happy, everyone's going to play better. We've seen it in teams like the Eagles, where a wide receiver may not necessarily be all that happy, and then therefore, it ends up creating quite a rift in the locker room. So you get everyone on board and everyone happy playing together. You're gonna see better football out there, and you're gonna see people, go that extra mile and go that little bit further for whichever QB is feeding the ball.
I think they stick with him. Just Kyler Murray. There's also that little bit of is he going back to baseball because he's struggling with the NFL, which we made a joke of it probably 3 weeks ago, and it gets louder and louder every week. So I'm sure that's outside noise just making it louder. But God, it'd be wild if we went back to the baseball. But we'll see. You never know. I think Jacoby Brissett's the man. We've spoken about the AFC North.
Crazier things have happened. Sorry, just on that. There is I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I probably shouldn't have just gone wild on this. But that's what we do, little hot takes. It's not the wildest thing, though. There is a rapper who's a multi-platinum albums selling rapper who's just signed with Syracuse, and he's going to play college football. He's put a pause on his rap career to then restart his college football career.
At Syracuse, nice.
Yeah.
Get him on. Let's get him on the podcast.
Crazy things can happen. Crazy things can happen.
Crazy things have happened. Like I said, we've spoken about the AFC North, but the AFC South, Danny, has just gotten absolutely wild. We kind of wrote this off a few weeks ago. The Colts were running and no one was going to catch them. I think they've lost 3 of the last 4 to now just be holding on. I think they're 5th or 6th in the wild card race. The Texans are serious. We kind of gave them no credit, and they've been out of the media for a few weeks. Their defense is legit. They've shut down the Bills, and now they've shut down the Colts. Who actually is going to win this AFC South? Because it's actually the Jags that are number 1 at the moment.
I need the Jags to be number 1. If we remember back to our little preview episode of my hot take that they were going to go, what did I say, 13-4? Well, they're still on track. They are still on track with only 4 losses. They do need to win out from here, which is going to be a very, very tough thing for this Jacksonville team to do. But crazy. So, like, this Houston's defense, as you said, they stopped the Bills. Now they've stopped Jonathan Taylor and Danny Dimes, who have had this, like, amazing run going at the start of the season. Was it a little bit of, like, confidence then building on momentum, and then that's why they were being so good, or were they actually a good offensive team? Hard to say when you're going up against Houston, because Houston, realistically, at this point, you got to say they've got the best defense in the league, almost by far as well. Like, it's like not even realistically all that comparable. So this then becomes a really, really tough division. And like, Houston's on a 4-game win streak as well. And they've really subtly been doing it. This is the first week CJ Stroud's been back and back playing properly. Like they're winning all these games on defense. And defense wins championships. And defense can win divisions. So I'm not fully against Houston fully turning the season around from someone that was literally a blip in the media and we hardly heard anything about them to then turn around and take out this division. Like, because realistically, like, I know, big on Jacksonville, and I feel like my hot take's almost right because they're having a very successful season. Indy surprises a little bit, maybe not Charlie, he kind of picked it. But we all had Houston still being like there and thereabouts. So what's to stop them turning this season around and actually going from almost the bottom of the divisions and taking it out? Cinderella story.
Is Charlie right with the Colts, though? Because they're sliding. So, like, I feel like at the moment, and the Jags are beaten up. They got the job done against the Titans on the weekend, but we all know the Titans are kind of playing for 2027. I feel like the Texans, are the best team in this division at the moment.
Yeah, currently, for sure.
So I wouldn't be surprised, and this is probably a bit of a hot take, that the Colts miss the playoffs.
Wow, now that would be wild. So if we go back to my favorite app, the probability picture of them making the playoffs has actually dropped down to 69%. So they're falling.
Just the playoffs, not even winning the division.
No, just to make the playoffs.
Wow.
AFC is so tight up top. Like it is a very, very tough conference.
Well, I sent you a photo before, and it's probably a good time to bring it up, that it's the first time in NFL history, this is not just the AFC, it's actually 3 from the NFC. 5 divisions have a lead of less than 1 game. So they're all either on par or, half a game. It's the AFC North and AFC South, which we just spoke about. Then our divisions, the NFC West, NFC North, NFC South, they're all within half a game of each other. Like this, not just the AFC, the whole season is it's ridiculously roller coaster this year, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's so tight, and it's good. It's good to see. Like, I'm not, unless it was the Eagles, I'm not the biggest fan of like massive dynasties just going on and ruling the league and destroying everyone. Like, any single week, any given Sunday, someone will come and surprise a team. A bottom team's going to beat a top team. There's upsets every single week, and we are at that perfect point in the season where we're just watching elite football every week.
Speaking of teams on roller coasters, the Panthers beaten number 1 seed again this season. They've come out. They beat us. They beat the Packers. They lost to the Saints. They've now beaten the Rams. They lost to a beaten up 49ers. They are the epitome of a roller coaster season at the moment, the Panthers, but are right in the race for the NFC South.
And it was crazy. So Bryce Young was doing some really amazing things. There was a little 4th and 3 play around midfield, and he was scrambling. He could have actually probably ran for it, and it would have been all good. But he just threw it way downfield, like so unnecessary. But hit Ted McMillan, wide open, and then he went and scored a touchdown. Like it was just crazy scenes to see what they're doing out there, and like they've got that little bit of momentum. They've got that underdog fight in them. But like you said, they're just kind of like weirdly playing to their opponent, similar to what the Packers, I guess, have done a lot this season, where depending on who they're playing is the level of their ability they're also playing at. So being out there and beating the Rams, and against this Rams defense as well, which like the episode before, I bigged up like no tomorrow, which is great. I love it when that happens. It's like the podcast of curse. But when they're playing up against like a team like that, and to go out there and win, yes, it was tight, and yes, it went down to like the final drive. But to be in that game, these young Panthers teams should be proud of themselves.
Yeah, I think it's at a point now where even say they don't make the playoffs, the Panthers can walk away and say, we're coming. Like next year, if we can, draft, a couple more on defense, even another wide receiver or something just to help Ted McMillan now, like they're coming. They're going to be the next big thing out of the NFC South, I reckon, because realistically, Baker and that are pretty happy there. Where they are, they're going to be still contending for the next few years. The Falcons suck; they're going backwards. I reckon these Panthers are the up and comers of that NFC South
for sure. And like we're seeing glimmers of it now this season. So if they can turn those glimmers into consistency, then you've got a contender. Then you've got a really, really exciting contender. And it's quite a young team. And what we've started to notice, especially this season, the younger teams that are going out there are the ones that are outperforming. Like, all right, take the Rams out of it and Stafford, but like his receiver core is relatively young. But you look at like even the Packers, relatively successful and one of their most youngest teams in the league. Like and you look at Drake May, Jackson Dart, all these people that are like really, really performing are now no longer the vets that have been in the league for 10 years.
Mm. Speaking of those Rams, is this a serious concern or just a bit of a blip on the radar for them?
It's got to be just a little bit of a blip. It's so hard when they're in that NFC West and you look at that division, you've got 3 teams that all have 9 wins. So you got the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all on 9 wins. So like
the 49ers still blows my mind that they're still up there, but they keep hanging on.
It's a good system. You can't hate on a good system. But you look at that. So like if they have another one of these blips, they can fall. They could fall quickly, especially like Seahawks and 49ers. I know you're saying 49ers is surprising you, but their system is still there and it has been in place. It is a plug and play system and it has been proven to be that. So whether the Rams can use this as a little bit of a wake up call, like I hope the Eagles did last week and they did not. If they can use this as a wake up call, then yeah, they'll be fine. They've got the defense, they've got the structure, they'll be all good. But if this then creates momentum in the opposite direction and they start losing, the NFC West is so wide open. It is so wide open and anything can happen.
I think we've said it as it's just a roller coaster season at the moment. I've got a couple of names I want to throw out to you and just see if you can work out how they're all connected. So there's 4 names: Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Aaron Rodgers. And then 3 names: Davis Mills, Penix Jr., and Tua Tagovailoa. So the first 4 are connected and the bottom 3 are connected, but how are they all connected?
Quarterbacks?
They are quarterbacks, yes. So the first 4, Mahomes, Jackson, Mayfield, and Rodgers, are teams that the Bills have beaten. And Davis Mills, Michael Penix Jr., and Tua Tagovailoa are teams that got beaten, or the Bills got beaten by. So I think they are also going into the roller coaster type season.
Yeah, so it's just like one of those things that we've been saying, like, and I don't know what's happened this season, but realistically this season, multiple teams are just going in and whether they're underestimating these like younger teams or younger quarterbacks, obviously Tua's not, but they're a divisional rival, that doesn't count. I feel like that's an anomaly. Divisional games are always like that. But they're going in with a different mindset, I guess, when they go in to face these teams rather than like, Josh Allen going in and facing Patrick Mahomes, which is like the biggest rivalry of our current NFL generation that we're in. He's going to go in and prepare for that game a little bit differently than when he's going up and facing Davis Mills, where he probably in his mind was like, as long as we can score on this defense, we'll win, which wasn't the case.
Mm. All right. Before we wrap this up, mate, this one's going to kind of kick in the plums for both of us. I feel like we have to talk about the Bears a little bit. They're leading the NFC, not just the NFC North. They're leading the NFC after beating your Eagles on the Friday, mate. Or Saturday actually, Saturday for us. Which just quietly loved a Saturday game. I really enjoyed waking up and having that leaving work, but I still, I think we're going to find out a lot in the next couple of weeks because they play us twice, and they've got some pretty good defenses they're coming up against.
Yeah, so I was always big on the Bears until the week that we had to face them, which was last week. And I spoke to my good friend, Stephen, who my boots on the ground in Philly, the guy I actually sat next to when I was lucky enough to go. Thank you to NFL Australia for that once again. When I spoke to him, he was just like, I've never been in this stadium for the years and years that he's been a season ticket holder, and the atmosphere would be that bad. It was like the Eagles, and I don't know if you could tell by watching the broadcast, but I definitely felt it. It was like the Eagles were like a 1-10 team going out and getting smashed again. Not a team that's just come off and won the Super Bowl the year prior. Not a team that's still sitting with a 8-3 record. Like the atmosphere was gone. The offense just was not firing. And then when it finally did, it was just too little too late, down by 2 scores. And then on Nick Sirianni's just doing some really weird play calling. I know his weird play calling may have helped us in the Super Bowl, but like right now, in a time where you must win, to score, be down by 2 scores, rather than just going for the point after. He went for a 2-point conversion just to make the next drive easier. We hadn't even got the ball back yet. Just keep the momentum going, because if you miss that 2-point conversion, it's still a 2-score game. Leave it as a 1-score game with a chance to potentially have that 2-point conversion as the final play. I just didn't get it. Didn't get the play calling. And the Bears are the real deal. Like I said it on Insta when I did that little post straight after the game, my reaction vid. The Bears are the real deal. As much as like you obviously have your rivalry in your head, and we got to take that hat off every now and then. But they are like they're going out there. They believe in this offense. They believe in this defense. Like Hurts was getting so much pressure. The offense wasn't really firing. The one thing that I picked that they were going to pick apart was their tight end defense. Normally, the Bears is actually quite poor. Dallas Goedert was nowhere. Like they actually stopped everything that we planned up, schemed, all of that. It just didn't work. And all I can say to you with the Packers is like, good luck facing this Bears team, because they are on a streak. They are doing well. They are playing well. They're doing everything they need to do. And the Eagles were just offensively nowhere.
I think they've won. They're 5 in a row, and then 9-1 in the last 10. So they are playing some good football. There is a lot of. I think realistically, in my mind, they're beating you was the first real win that they've had. They've beaten a lot of backup quarterbacks and been lucky with some injuries against them. But going into the link and winning is a serious deal. So we'll give them their kudos when they deserve it. So it'll be, like I said, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks. The only thing that really I was happy with is Caleb Williams only threw for 150 yards. So his 4,000 is looking a little bit more dicey now.
Yeah, no, and we said that leading into this that I didn't want him to throw the ball, but DeAndre Swift, an ex-Eagle, ran all over us. And like,
yeah, we should have picked a revenge game. We should have picked it.
Should have picked a revenge game. Should have spoken about it. But he like between the two running backs as well, it was the first time in Bears history since like 1950 or something that they both had 100 rushing yards. They just destroyed us on the ground. So he didn't even need to throw the ball and then still won comfortably. It was a really, really tough watch. Like I know you said it was a great way to start your Saturday. It was a really sad way to start mine. But the Bears for the next, you're exactly right. They face you twice in 3 weeks. The game in between that is the Browns, so you'd expect that to be a win. Let's say you go 1-1.
Tough defense though.
Tough defense, but also not really playing for much right now. So you look at your game's 1-1. Let's just be real. And then the Browns, let's say they're going to beat them, so now they're 2-1. Then they've got the 49ers and Detroit. I reckon they could go 1-1 in that too. Let's say they lose 1, win 1, whichever way you want to look at it. So now we're looking at 3-2 wins for their final 5 games. That is a playoff team.
Yeah, whether it's the top of the NFC North or just scraping in for, but that's 12 wins. If you don't make the playoffs with 12 wins, you're very unlucky.
Very unlucky, but they like at this point, like you're just looking at that for the rest of it. Only just because of the way that they played against the Eagles. You are right; they did face some easier teams in the season, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to say time and time again. As much as you don't like it, the Bears are the real deal this season.
We'll find out, like I said, the next 3 weeks. If they do go 0-2 against the Packers, then I think it says it all. Now, we are recording this before the Monday Night Football game of the Giants and the Patriots. The one big thing, I feel like we're both thinking that the Patriots are going to win this one. Agreed?
Yes. I've got something to say, so I'll let you finish.
We have a big part of this game that we require. It's for our 1K club brought to us by Unibet. Matty Stafford let us down a little bit. He only had 140-odd yards. The other two, Brissett.
Josh Allen let us down. Matty Stafford. Josh Allen was the one who let us down because they ran the ball 54 times rather than throwing it. Matty Stafford was all good. It was around that 220 mark.
He's a listener of the podcast, so I do apologise. It was Josh Allen again, fucking letting us down. Only 140 when they ran, 300 yards. Drake May needs 331 for this 1K to get up, mate.
Which hurts a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Because Drake May's best that he's ever done in the NFL is 294 yards, and that was against the Bengals. So the Bengals' pass defense is poor. The Giants, though, if we are going to pick anything apart about their defense, they've probably got a better rush defense than they do a pass. Like Drake May has multiple running backs that he could be like going to, and also Drake May can use his feet a lot as well. So they will probably try and put a lot of pressure on him, a lot of blitzes and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully he gets some like little check down passes and they run really far, like or a couple of Hail Marys. I don't know. We need something in this. We need Drake May to have the best game of his career. Otherwise, our whole $10 into 1K is just going to be halted a little bit. We'll restart. Like we're not going to get.
Absolutely.
We're not giving up on this, but it would be nice if we could just smash this out in the first one. The reason that I find this game so interesting, and I saw it, and I don't know who posted it, but it's just like, is Drake May and Dart the new Brady and mate
Eli Manning? Wow.
Manning. Huge. Yeah, the new Patriots Giants rivalry. And I was like, I love this so much. Like you got to run with this.
Yeah, I don't hate it, especially Jackson Dart. He's. We hope. I feel like Drake May's a bit more established. We got to get Jackson Dart a little bit more. Hopefully, he's not just a flash in the pan, but that could be a rivalry for the ages in the next 10 years if these two actually pull their socks up.
Oh, and we'd love to see it. And also, I'd just really like Jackson Dart to not run with his head first. If he can stop doing that and keep himself out of the blue tent, maybe we'll have a chance for this rivalry.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to stop this rivalry is him and his injuries, his CTE. But it's been a huge week 13, mate. We're going to got 5 weeks left. Like the season is coming to a close very, very quickly. Playoffs are upon us, and every game matters from here on in.
Let's go football.